Just tell me who sent you. Who's looking for the girl? I just might have to shoot you if you don't talk.
You don't know what a grave mistake you made. You have no idea who you're defying.
Okay, maybe you don't understand. Give me a name or I'll kill them.
It's a pleasure for me to see you again. I am sure Mr. Martin shares with me the great regret and terrible displeasure for the loss of Joe Masiello. Personally, and you know this well, I raised Joe from a child, always steering him towards good and justice, sometimes protecting him from the evil of this world and from the unhealthy people around us more and more in our society. This time, alas, I haven't been able to protect him from the violent hands of a sinner hangman. I am distressed, sad if anything. I am mad at myself for not having protected him quite well, to getting him back safely to his father Peter. I'm grateful that you did accept my invitation. A special thanks, in addition to my deepest condolences, to my dear friend Peter Masiello. Today we must be grateful and honored for being here. Despite his anger and pain, as a grieving father, depressed for the premature death of his beloved son.
I agree with every word Father Randolph said. I too was a teenager. We knew how stubborn and defiant he was, but we loved him as if he were a son to be led in the right direction, right way, protecting him from harm. However, I would add that I condemn this crime, so sudden, so violent, as absurd as despicable, and it's condemned by my associates, and I believe it's condemned by every single person present here today. This act is a blow from behind, hard and cowardly. A terrible hate crime has been committed against one of my people. It's mourning for me, because I feel that a son has been taken from me. Good friend Peter, I drink to your health, to Joe, and to the death of this criminal who hit us in the back. To Joe Masiello.
To Joe Masiello.
We care about what you're going to do, man. Frankly, I'd rather die here, now, in this shithole, rather than to be forced to flee in vain for naming names. They'll find us, all of us. This will be the downfall of us. You will die in the worst way you can ever imagine. Things your worst nightmares wouldn't touch. And though thy beginning was small, yet thine end shall be very great. Worst of everything. When you'll get to man up and you'll pull the trigger to finish us off, you'll be very helpful for us, but you come into the last fucking circle of hell. And the time will come when you'll beg to die, crying to finish you off, as you would like us to finish off. I assure you.
I believe that the criminal is standing near us, Caleb. A man sent by him who toasted, at this moment, with us, to my poor son.
Peter, I understand your anger, but you're wrong to accuse our members.
Listen carefully, Peter. Why would I kill your son, in such a critical moment of the entire association? It's a crazy and absurd act. I'm not a fool and a coward, as you think.
Most of the association members couldn't stand my family entry into operational actions, nor the direction of some important tasks assigned to my son. The Vitale, have always had everything for them, they never want to share anything, and they couldn't even leave us a single grain. They are always the first to come forward, and to eat more than anyone else. Their actions are marked by intrusiveness, arrogance and selfishness. They have a monopoly on this town, a power unjustly torn from who has struggled to build a prosperous future for a century. And now that the association gave also little crumbs to my family, despite the dissent of many members, what are they doing? Under the pretext of a small mistake, they have killed the youngest of my children. So what's worth all that? Do they want more power? Or do they try to maintain an attitude of gratitude towards association? You also got the crumbling remains. We just have to use force. You don't come and tell me I'm a warmonger, because I've tried to postpone this war in all circumstances. And I can't procrastinate like I normally do. Now, I must avenge my son's death, and say stop to this power. We need to restore order to Bosom City.
I can't stand this anymore. I don't accept violence or cruel ways in my house.
Would you rather they killed us? They're criminals and should be treated as such. We must defend ourselves and know who sent them at any costs. It's very important. We need to know where Sophia is.
Okay, guys, what's taking so long? Did you find the girl? Come on, why don't you answer? What the hell are you doing?
Who is this? Tell me who you are.
I really don't think making a mistake, despite my poor and worn ears, but the voice I heard looks like it belongs to the director of St. Louis, Oliver Bernard.
No, Mr. Masiello. I didn't invite you here with the intent of triggering controversy. I am sure that the criminal is not part of the confraternity.
I apologize, Father, for my outburst. But am I not still one of our Lord's most active and merciful servants? Father, after all, haven't I been one of the most patient and diplomatic people you know? Even when the Vitale took away my contacts, friends in the police, the judges and even the politicians, have I not come to you to speak? And I forgave everything, under your advice and by the grace of the Lord. Even when the association decided to support and consider the contribution of the Vitale to a greater extent than my family, I backed off, like a gracious son of God. Funds for that anti-BRO drug were grabbed before our eyes. I knew it were excellent investments, but when I proposed my funds, they refused our contribution, because the operations had all been concluded by the Vitale. I've always been patient and understanding. Always postpone. Again and again, like a godly man. Am I right, Father? Today I'm not. Today, my silence ends. As our Lord has whipped the merchants. The time has come to take the whip.
Good Peter, I was offended by your words on another occasion. And I'm a dad and grandfather, too. Do you want to know how many grandchildren, children and relatives I had to lose too? You know very well that this job is as rewarding as sneaky. You know perfectly well that you can lose your loved ones and ask yourself if the path you've chosen is really the right one, the path you offer your heirs for their future. Personally, I haven't been able to make a balance between the perks and the losses. But also being a dad with a big heart and a sensitive soul, I assure you I know the pain and anger you feel and I understand you. When my first child, poor Saul, was killed, I felt the same things you're feeling. And all I can say you, besides being close to you, is that no one in my family, no affiliates, Not even a small neighborhood gang has moved against your Joe, even with the thought. It's the truth. I am sure of that, because you know how these things pan out. This means that there is no weather, no cool breeze, no torrential rainfall, and definitely no snow. Unless I say so.
Was that him? Was that director of St. Louis? You slimy worms. I'm really going to shoot you.
Whatever we say, we're doomed anyway, and so are you.
You sick son of a bitch.
Yes, it was him. I knew his voice. We don't need to make things worse. I think you'd better talk to Father Randolph at this point. I'll have to let him know that Director Bernard is a very dangerous man.
No, you can't do that.
I have to do this. I have an obligation to warn him about who runs his institution. That director is a dangerous person, and I fear for Father Randolph.
The last time you exposed yourself out there, going all the way to Bosom City, you brought these two thugs here. You've got to believe that you can't trust people.
Good grief, son. If we all thought as you say, we shouldn't trust you even.
I wouldn't blame you. If the director of St. Louis sent these men, he knows all about Nicki and little Sophia. The social worker was not mistaken, but it's not safe here. And we have to go away, far from here.
Joe has made a mistake, and he had to pay, right? I wasn't born yesterday.
Mr. Masiello, the confraternity had a deal for Joe. He would resolve things, and apparently he was having quite a success.
Peter, listen to reason. Now isn't it when one of us kept playing with rules you made up as you liked? Here we are part of a large international organization. Association is an infinite and powerful organism, bigger than you and I put together. Do you really believe any of my men or someone in my family is able to throw in every good dollar spent in the operations? An insane act like this, without authorization from church and without the association's consent, would have represented my downfall and of members of my family, fall in my investments, and this would have put at risk our future. Please, I'm not crazy.
Alert Father Randolph, maybe he can help us, and he can get that man away.
We cannot know how many other people are also involved in this thing. I just have to get the girl out of here.
What about Sophia? Her life could be in serious danger at this point.
But for now, it's more important that they don't find Nicki. If there's ever a way to stop that director.
So what do we do with them now?
You have sleeping pills, right?
Yeah.
We'll let them sleep and tomorrow we'll decide the best course of action.
Joe had my blessing, and you know how much this means to every member of the confraternity. As Mr. Vitale just said, no one's reckless enough to be able to go up against something or someone bigger than himself. The confraternity gives the green light to punish those responsible for Joe's death, given that his son, Mr. Masiello, was a member of the Brotherhood, brother of each of us.
My men are entirely available to find and to punish those responsible. We will no rest until we find the responsible for Joe's death.
I really appreciate it, Joe. I'm grateful.
God's endless love makes another great miracle today.
AEDA editions.